Hello, everybody. This is Tim again. I figured since I did a review for Wonder Woman and gave my thoughts briefly on Spider-Man Homecoming and Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I'd go ahead and do a review for those films. Now, just to jump straight into those films, I saw them not too long ago. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I'd give 3.5 stars out of 4. Thought it was pretty good, not great. It's a step below the first film, which automatically makes sense to me because the first film worked on like a first-time original feel. And it was, you heard the jokes for the first time in that movie. And anytime you do a sequel to a movie that's mainly comedy, the jokes always feel more played out, and it doesn't flow as well in the second time around. It never does. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, all in all, is a pretty good movie. Kurt Russell's pretty much the villain. You find out he is Star-Lord's father in the film, which he reveals at the end. Right when he's about to accomplish his mission, he reveals that he's Star-Lord's father, and that causes Star-Lord to go into a rage because he tells him that he killed his mother. And Kurt Russell has no reason to say that because of bad writing, he blurts it out. And this movie suffers from dragging and having too many side plots to where it just kind of takes over the film with Yondu and Rocket Raccoon, where it just goes on for a long time with them and the Ravengers. All in all, a pretty good sequel, 3.5. Nothing to write home about, but a pretty good, entertaining movie. The ending really brought it up for me, the climax and the third act. I love seeing Kurt Russell fight, but I hated it when he turned into a stupid giant rock monster. That was retarded. But other than that, the ending where Yondu's funeral in space and everything, I thought that was great. And the fireworks going off in the sky. One other thing, Stallone's cameo, small role, whatever, in this film felt really out of place. Stallone just felt weird being in this film to me. That's just my opinion. Other than that, yeah, pretty good film. Not as good as the original, but pretty good. Pretty good sequel. Spider-Man Homecoming, I had less of a good time with it than Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I thought it was good. Not pretty good, not great, just good. I'd give it 3 stars out of 4. It was a good time. Michael Keaton did a good job as the villain. He's probably the second best Marvel villain after Loki, but he was really underused here, and this movie has some bad pacing problems where they spend way too much time on the high school drama crap and just kind of leave out the main plot line. And another thing is this film plays it so low-key, and I appreciate that because it's not some big take over the world plot. It's just like arms dealing, but it plays it so low-key with the plot that it's almost like a non-existent threat. Like, all the Vulture's doing is, like, moving weapons or whatever. And I'm like, this is so low-key, I don't even care. And another thing, this movie's all about Spider-Man coming into his own and becoming his own hero or whatever, improving himself. And honestly, I never really felt like he did. By the end of the movie, he doesn't really defeat the Vulture. He just happens to beat the Vulture by luck. The Vulture happens to get this equipment or whatever that just happens to be ready to blow up at the exact time he just got done beating the hell out of Spider-Man, and the stuff blows up and causes the Vulture to crash, and that's how he gets defeated by Spider-Man. It's retarded. I hated that. Altogether, though, Michael Keaton does a good job as the villain, and I like the cast. Tom Holland is easily my favorite Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire is still my favorite Peter Parker, but Tom Holland is still my favorite Spider-Man. One thing, I thought Robert Downey Jr. was going to be in this movie too much from the trailers, but actually, he was one of my favorite parts. I don't think he was used enough in the film, to be honest. I could have used more Robert Downey Jr. All in all, 3-star film out of 4. Not a great movie, but a good film. So those are that's my quick review for those two films, just to wrap them up. They were a little underwhelming to me. I feel like Marvel could do better than these two films, especially Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I expected better from that. As far as Spider-Man goes, it may just be me. I don't know. I'm kind of, well, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was pretty good, but I still expected better from that because it's Guardians of the Galaxy, and the first one was just so good. I really liked the first one. It's not like, I don't think the first one's like one of the greatest comic book movies of all time, like some people do, but it is one of my favorite Marvel films. And I think it's a great film. I would definitely put it in like the top maybe 15 comic book movies of all time, but not like top 10 or 5 or whatever. But other than that, yeah, it was still a pretty good film. And another, and I got sidetracked there. And the Spider-Man, I liked it less than Guardians. Like I was going to say, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm just kind of burnt out on Spider-Man. I'm just kind of Spider-Man to death. There's just so many friggin' Spider-Man movies. I liked the first 2 Tobey Maguire movies. The third one sucked. Amazing Spider-Man, I barely remember. But I remember it being like an okay movie. Just suffered too much from retreading the origin story. Amazing Spider-Man 2 sucked, from what I remember. And this movie is just a good film. I liked it better than the two Amazing Spider-Man films and Spider-Man 3, but it still doesn't hold a candle to the first two Tobey Maguire films, in my honest opinion. If you love it, whatever, that's fine. But in my honest opinion, I just thought it was good. 3 stars out of 4. Good movie, but just kind of underwhelming. I felt like it could have been better. It needed better pacing and a tighter script. And it has the standard fat comedy relief friend that a lot of movies have, or whatever, to make the hero seem more good-looking in comparison to the uglier friend or whatever. Uh, which is a shame. They still use pudgy people for roles like that. But whatever. All in all, 3 stars. Good film. Not great, but good enough. So on a Marvel note, Thor Ragnarok looks freaking awesome, and it's probably going to be one of my favorite comic book films of all year. Probably it and Justice League. Wonder Woman was awesome, but I feel like Justice League and Thor Ragnarok I'll probably like a little bit more. Well, Thor Ragnarok is more my style than Wonder Woman, and Justice League just looks like a blast. So I'll see you guys again with the next review.